Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this gift bag. I used the gift bag punch board, and this project was one of my Flurry of Wishes projects that I've been working on this week. The cardstock that you need is a sheet of the extra thick Whisper White cardstock. I did make this little gift bag using our normal Whisper White cardstock, but it creased as I pulled it together and tied up the bow. Can you see that? Yeah. And when I posted this to my blog, I did say that I think it would probably be better if you use the extra thick, the thick cardstock rather. And that's what I did when I used this one, made this one, and it did cope with it a lot better. So that's what I have here. And the first thing I'm going to do is to use the punch board, which is this one here. It makes 3 sizes of gift bags, and basically when they say 3 sizes, they are actually referring to the size of the base of the box, this size here. This one's the medium one, but the height of it you can make as tall or as short as you want. I've chosen, mine is 6.5 inches, so that makes the height 5.25 inches, which I think is quite a nice size for treats or gifts or things. Now I'm going to have to stand up to do this because I don't have the strength in my arms to actually push down on the punch. Bit of a weakling, I'm afraid. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I am going to do my score line all the way across the top here first. You don't have to do it like this, it just saves me one less thing to think about while I'm doing my punching and scoring, because I normally forget to do one part. With this hand I'm making sure that this is pushed up to the top all the time. Okay, so just check that I've done it all the way across, which I have. Now what I'm going to do is line this piece up with the start line that you can see here. Okay, make sure it's pushed up again right to the edge. Now let me just stand up while I do this, bearing in mind that my head is level now with my camcorder, so I will tip myself sideways to do this. Okay, so that's one punch, and the size that I'm doing makes it a medium box, so I need to score on the medium line. All the sizes are on here, so there's no mistaking what measurements you need, and it tells you also how to work out the sizes, whether how to do the size for a small base, medium base or a large base. Right, now this time I'm going to score where it says side here. I'm going to score here. This also says side on here. And then I'm going to do the diagonal and the diagonal. Now, did I punch on that? I don't think I did I? I'll soon find out. I have done now. Okay, so now I'm moving my score line along to meet up with the pointer there. You see the pointer? That's it. So I've lined up with that. I'm going to score on my medium line, and now I'm going to punch. And they say it's better if you punch, if you put your hand on the middle of the... Oh, I'm not sure if that went right down. Just put it towards me a bit. I assume that must have done. No, it hasn't, has it? It's gone down and got stuck there. That's the trouble. Ah, that's it. Doing it too far at an angle, leaning across like that. But that's worked, that's alright. Now I'm going to line this score line up with the pointer. Let's bring it forward just while I punch. That's much better. Now I'm also going to put that back into position again first, and I'm going to score down my side line, score down this side line, and then this diagonal, and then this diagonal. Now I'm going to move it along again so my pointer lines up with this score line. Bring it towards me again. I really don't want to put you off of getting one of these because you think that my performance is normal. It's a brilliant tool, it really is. Now I am going to punch the holes at the top. Which one do I start with? Start round this way. We want them at the top, not at the bottom. And we start there. Okay, now I'm starting where I've got the little 1/2 inch, which is going to be where I put my tearing tape on. Now these way of remembering where you do your holes for your ribbons along here, if this has been punched out at the end of a score line, that's where you punch your holes. Okay, that's been punched out, score line, so you punch holes there, and for that one, and for that one, and last of all, because this has been punched out, you do it at the end of that line as well. So again, we have a pointer here. Yes, there it is. Okay, so that's what you're lining your score lines up with. So first of all, that one. And again, make sure that it's pushed up against the edge there, the top edge. And this is the little square that they say it's best if you punch on from there. Now don't worry about the fact that that's gone off the edge there, that doesn't matter. Now I'm lining it up with this score line. And punch. This side's a lot easier. And then this one onto that punch line. Make sure it's right up the top. And then this score line. And then finally this one, just line the edge up with the pointer there. There we go. Okay, so they're all our holes. That's the last that we need to use that for. So I'm going to sit myself down again. Okay, now this is obviously our seam that we're going to be joining up. So this big panel is going to be our centre panel, and this is the one I'm going to stamp the first snowflake on. I'm changing my colour. This one is the word that I struggle to say. Let me read it first. Where is it? Watermelon Wonder. Last time I used that, I kept calling it Watercolour Wonder, but this time it's easy. Tip Top Taupe. Okay, so this is the largest snowflake. The stamp set is Flurry of Wishes, as I say, I've been doing a week-long challenge on my blog, coming up with 5 different ideas to use this stamp set for. Let me just bring that down a little bit. Okay, so this is my stamp. I'm going to turn it this way to fit it in, and approximately in the centre there. I don't use a piercing mat underneath my Photopolymer stamps. I just think that as long as you leave the stamp there a few seconds, just to allow the ink to transfer onto the paper, I think that's all it needs. While I've got my ink out, I'm going to stamp the other 3 snowflakes. So this is the other piece of paper that you'll need. It's a scrap to do 3 snowflakes on. So there's that one. Now, bearing in mind that this is going to be punched out with the flower medallion punch, so it's these big part of the design here that goes into the punch straight, so make sure that one of those is going straight down to the bottom of your paper. Now the next 2 snowflakes actually arrive as one. I've cut mine in 2. Let me show you. I just find it easier to use like this, but if I want to put them together, I can put them together like that. If you leave them like this and you stamp them, then that will go straight into your punch nice and easily. Let me show you the punch. Okay, so together it's designed to match that. I just find that you have more versatility if they're separate, but it does mean to say that you have to be more careful when you're punching. You'll see what I do with it. It's not the end of the world, it's no great shakes. But I have to say, as always, if you do anything like this to your stamps, it does make your guarantee with Stampin' Up null and void, which is understandable. But as I've said before, I have total confidence in Stampin' Up stamps, and I really don't expect to have any problems at all. There we go. Now I will put those on one side so that we can get the box put together, and I'll come back to those. Now I am going to use, oh no, scissors first. We have 2 small bits to cut off. First of all, we're going to cut this piece off, and we're going to cut it at an angle like that. And we're also going to cut an angle off this one, which is why I said don't worry about the hole. And I'm going to cut that like that up to the top of the score line. Okay. So I'm going to show you where we need tearing tape, and this is the first project that I've used this on, and I have to say I am impressed. I heard somebody say recently that this is as strong as the red sticky strip. Well, I don't know whether it is or not. I'm happy to take their word for it, but I do know it is strong, and it is certainly strong enough to use on boxes like this, so I'm totally sold on it. I think it's great. The only thing is I do have a fair bit of red sticky strip to use up, but that's okay. I will get through these things. As you know, I don't like waste. Right, so that's the sticky strip. Where's it gone? On there. The other sticky strip you're going to need is, with the right side facing you, you need to put sticky strip on the 3 columns, the 3 flaps that aren't with the snowflake. So there's one there. one there, and one there. Now, the last piece you need is on the opposite side of this flap, okay? So each flap has got some sticky strip on it. The one that's going to be your front panel has a sticky strip on the inside of the box. Now before I actually glue, take the covers off and stick this together, I'm going to fold on all my creases. As always though, do make sure that they're lining up there. Again, if it's got a punched out piece like this, then you can fold on that score line. Don't fold on the what I call the Y shape. We'll come back to those in a jiffy. Okay, so that's that one. And that one. You see, I check every time I fold one over to make sure that it is lining up properly. And then fold on all the flaps as well. Now with the Y shapes, what you need to do is fold inwards and then very gently fold that inwards. You can't go very far without damaging your box, and it is there purely and simply to enable your box to squeeze up like this. Okay, so it's just fold it gently and then fold that in gently. You'll see that it won't want to go very far, but as long as it's got slight creases in there, you're good to go. Now just take the covering off of this tearing tape and then bring this one over, and again making sure it all matches up. The last thing you need is a wonky box. There we go. And that's got a little bit of a wonky bit there. It doesn't feel like it's going to close properly, so just make sure the lines are going in the right place. And there we go. See how that... Now what I'm going to do is take the 4 pieces of backing off of the tearing tape, and that's another nice thing about using this. It doesn't have all that static that was in the red sticky strip. Not only did you have to battle to get the red bit off of your sticky bit, then you had to battle to get it off your fingers. Right, okay, so is that all 4? Yes, that's all 4. Now, I think it's best to fold these flaps in at the same time, because by holding it, it helps you to make sure you get your box straight. So first 2 small ones in first, then the first big one. At this stage, don't worry about whether those 2 little ones actually match up with this yet. It's more important to make sure that this flap lines up properly with this one. And you may think to yourself, well, why does she put tape on that one and on that one, because they're both meeting up? And the reason is because there's a difference between I see, the edge of the other flap, this is one, and the edge of the other flap is over here somewhere, which means you're either going to have a bit down here on the underneath one, or this one that's not going to be sticking. So if you do it on both pieces, you know it's going to stick beautifully. And then just pop your foam folder in and give it a little bit of pressure, so you know that that's all done. Okay, so that's your box. Now we're going to make our snowflakes, and I'm going to start with the flower Medallion punch, which is that one. I'm going to cut out this large one first, so get that nicely lined up. Now the next one, this is what I mean about, because I've separated these two. Now first of all, that little one is going to go in there, and I'm not going to lose any extra paper. So just line that one up. Okay, I've lost a little extra bit there, but that's okay. And then I need to do this one, and that's going to go in there. Well, that bit is already wasted anyway, so I can now go in and get this one done. Okay. So that scrap lives to see another day. Now I do like a little bit of glitter, so what I'm going to do is I have my Dazzling diamonds, and I have my 2A glue pen on my desk here somewhere. Here we go. And what I'm going to do is, I don't really need a scrap, but just in case I'm clumsy. Oops, didn't put that on very well, did I? Okay, so I just make sure my glue is coming through. And on the second largest, I'm just going to colour in the large holes on the outside of my snowflake, like that. Obviously if you want to do more than that, you can do. Okay, so that's that one done. I'm going to do the same to these two. These ones I'm only going to do the big ones. I'm not going to start doing the tiny ones inside. And then I'll dunk that one right the way in. So that's okay. And then this one I am going to do the little ones, because this is the one that's going to be on the top. And that's just a little dob. Okay. Again, give that a good dunking. And then the last one, I'm going to do the big holes on here. Okay. Now for this one, I'm going to hold it over my container and allow it just to run straight back into the box. There we go. And let's put that away before I have an accident with it. Rest that on there, I'll get that back later. And what I'm going to do is adhere all of these with dimensionals. So I'll put 3 on that one. These smaller ones, I think 1 is enough. Okay, so leave that one for a moment. We'll do this one. Now when you're trying to put these two together, this one's got 8 points on it. This one's only got 6. So you're not going to be able to line them up. So what I do is I take top and bottom and I line them up top and bottom here. Like that, okay? If you want to do yours totally random, of course you can. There's no right or wrong way at this. Now this one also has 6, so you can do it in between. And then I'm going to pop it on top here. Oops. No, 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 no. Oops. I've just taken the cover off of that one. I have to be careful with that now. Okay, now again, this has 8 points to it. This has got 6. So I'm going to do top and bottom. Only what I'm going to do with this is I'm doing the 2 thin ones, top and bottom. These are the bigger ones. Okay, so top and bottom with those 2. There we go. And because we haven't started putting our ribbon through yet, that goes in very nice and easily. Okay, so all we need to do now is to put our ribbon through, and I'm using this beautiful dotted lace trim, and I take about 20 inches. You could get away with less. Depends how confident you are with your tying knots, bows rather, not knots. And also a piece of our thin cord. I don't know whether you noticed, but that's what I've done through this ribbon. I tied it at the same time with some silver. Yep, you can see it going through the back as well. I just thought that added a nice little bit of extra interest. Now when you get a ribbon like this that's gone all curly, to get it straightened out, if you just get a bit of moisture either on your fingers, or this is a wet one, or baby wipe, and just pull it through, and it works wonders for straightening it out. It's not perfect, but that's pretty good, especially when you consider how crinkly it was. So what I do is just lay that in the middle, wrap that around it and hold it in place. Try and make sure that I'm approximately halfway through with this. That looks about right. And then I am going to put that through the holes. So I will do those 4 holes all at the same time. Although this ribbon is quite wide, it does go quite small when you want it to go through the holes. So do it again for that side, push that through. There we go. Make sure these are approximately the same, that's right. And I tend to lay mine down to tie it first of all in a knot and then a bow, and just keep the silver together with you wherever the ribbon, the lacy trim goes. Make sure the ribbon goes, the cord goes with it too. This is our new silver cord. It also comes in gold as well. I have used quite a lot of this, I have to say. come on. And it does tie bows very, very nicely. This is a bit more of a fiddle, obviously, because I'm trying to get this other one to go through with it. Now, why have you gone small? I'm not sure that you came through correctly. Well, I'm not going to waste time on the video trying to get that sorted out. I'll straighten it out once I've finished. But these two should be the same length, and what I should have done is, when I made sure these were both the same length, I should have made sure that I'd poured both those through the same. Right, let's get that one. So when you're straightening up your bow, if you make sure that you've got your silver trim at the same distance like that, so it's wrapped around my finger exactly the same length as it is with the ribbon and the cord, both the same. Hope that makes sense. Right, which way do you want to go? More like that, isn't it? Okay. Just a little bit of a play with it and it'll go nicely. Okay, now you see how this has come up too far? Now pulling one of these should, that's it, pulling that one will make it shrink. There we go. So that does look nice. It's just a little added something. I know some people like putting the loops of things like this silver cord round the back of the snowflakes, but that's not particularly a design that I like. I'd prefer to use it like this. Okay, so there we go. That's my bow, which is going to have to do for the time being, but you get the idea. By the time I finished, it will look as nice as that one. Trust me. It's not too far though, is it? And I would just trim the edges off to get it to go like this. Before I go, I would just like to show you two others that I made. If you follow my blog, you will have seen these. This one I used mint macaroon cardstock, and I did the stamping with Versamark, and I sprinkled it with iridescent ice, which gives it all that real sparkle. And this one also I've put the silver through. And I also did one that I think is more manly. Again, I've used Tip Top Taupe, but I've used the cardstock. And on this one, I actually stamped snowflakes all the way around. I've used a retired trim to tie the bag together. And I've also done a separate to and from, which came from the Merry Everything stamp set. This one I did put the cord through. That looked okay. I was happy with that one, but I think that's because it was soft and quite thin. The cord is quite a bit thicker. So there you go, there's the project. I hope you like it, and I hope you decide to give it a try. Oh, by the way, I topped off this one with one of our, I think we're calling them iced rhinestones. Really attractive. It looks like an engagement ring because it's got like little diamonds around. Well, it hasn't, but it's been made to look like that. Okay, so I will do that on that one. So I hope you liked that. Many thanks for watching my video. If you have any questions, please contact me. As always, I will be happy to help you. If you've enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button to the right hand side of the screen, or depending what you're watching this on, it may be below the screen. If you'd like to buy any of the products that I featured here, please visit my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. The link is at the bottom of the screen. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.